people, good people, good people. Welcome once again to When Men Speak, the podcast. I have with me today Marquise, Mr. Eminem.
What up?
We got Gabe, Preacher Man. And we got Bernard, Cochise.
We are.
So, crew, we are here yet again as I have deemed this series the Cabin Series. This is, I believe, the third episode of Cabin, where we are diving into some just live, organic, raw conversation from the cabin, from our men's retreat. So without further ado, we're gonna ask Preacher Man to cue us up. And as we have done in the past, once we hit something that we want to dive into a little bit, we'll pause the video and we'll dive in. But make sure you guys drop your comments, your questions in the chat, and we'll address those as well. Over to you, Marquis.
All right, let's get it. Go ahead and play, Gabe. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Listen and join us in the conversation. We're going deep, baby. Let's go.
Like, share, subscribe, share, comment.
And this is when it kind of shifted for me. It was right around the time we started going to First Calvary. And we gave ourselves First Calvary Baptist Church behind you. Okay. We gave our life to Christ, man. And Tanya came to me one day. She said, Chance. She said, don't you want me to enjoy it too? And I was like, yeah. But she said, I can't enjoy it when you want it every day, multiple times a day. See, my body don't even have time to recuperate and recover from it. Yeah. She was like, it ain't no fun to me no more. It's not enjoyable to me no more. And when she broke,
yeah, I got the wood chips on my.
She broke it down to me like that, bro. And I felt so small. I was like, because I was seeing her as those images. Mm-hmm. I was trying to do what I was seeing all them years of being a kid. Yeah. You know, and even early in my career, you know, looking at magazines and all that stuff, I'm trying to relive that or create those moments with her. Yeah. And what happened for me?
When you were trying to relive and create what moments with
those porn moments, the movies and stuff. I'm trying to recreate and relive those things with her. And what God was trying to get me to see was, that's not how I want you to see her. You can't see her as sex sergeant, but as a piece of meat per se. Mm-hmm. You know, this is your wife. Yeah. You got to see her as I see her. You know what I'm saying? Right. And it wasn't. She said it wasn't until the separation. Wow. That it became real for you. Became real for me. Yeah. You know, and oh, my bad. It wasn't until the separation, and in that separation, y'all know the story. I'm praying and I'm crying and I'm like, man, God, what is going on here, you know? And he was like, husband, love your wife, and Christ love the church, and gave himself for it. Yeah. I said, what does that mean? Okay, I done preached it, I done read it, I done Bible studied. What does that mean? Yeah. And he was like, when you out of position, I love you. Yeah. When you up, I love you. When you down, I love you. Yeah. You know, when you condemnation upon yourself, I love you. Yeah. My love for you never changes. That's how you gotta love her. That's right. That's how you gotta see her. Mm. And man, when I got that revelation, man, and I start, we live in different places now. We're in two different apartments. I started seeing her like that and treating her like that and loving her like that. She would cook and say, she invite me over for dinner, man. I go over there, I have dinner with the family, and I help clean up the kitchen, and I go home, take my wife home. I did not overstep. Yeah. I wasn't conducting myself as if I was her husband. I was conducting myself as I was somebody trying to date her, trying to win her affection, you know what I'm saying, win her back to me. And that slowly progressed, man. I go have dinner, and she, you know, say, well, you know, you're late, you ain't gotta go home. I'll sleep on the sofa. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I would not go further than what, even though I'm her husband, but I wouldn't do it. And even in times we got later into that year, she was like, well, you can stay, you know, come on, sleep, you know, come on in bed. I turned my back to her. I wouldn't touch her. I wouldn't put my hands on her. I would not do You know what I'm saying? I wanted her to
sacred again.
Yeah, I wanted her to know, like, I'm serious about this, man. Yes, sir.
So I got a question. Now this porn thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically, of course, you were addicted to porn. It was based upon how you grew up because you was exposed to sex so young, and then when you wasn't having sex, you end up being addicted because you had sex for so long and it felt so good at such a young age to duplicate that. What you basically did was went to porn. You fantasized in your head because remember, even at this time, at 10 years old, you have no emotional connection to it.
No,
it's just right.
Yeah.
So it's just recreation and pleasure. So you see what I'm going on? It becomes recreation and pleasure. You know what I'm saying? And so now it becomes something that you become addicted to because the adrenaline and the
dopamine.
There you go. The dopamine that's released and all that stuff in reference to the act, right? So now at this point, when you having sex with your wife, you fantasizing and want to try these things that you seeing on your porn, and so you going in and you're doing it based on just being pleasured physically, not emotionally, spiritually, and all those things. So you begin to miss the element. That's how she began to be a piece of meat, right?
You miss the intimacy of it.
Right. That's
what it's supposed to be in a marriage.
Which is spiritual,
right?
Emotional,
and
not
physical.
And physical.
It's a combination of all of those. Right. So here's the trick.
So before you go to that you was missing those things at that moment, though, right?
Yes, I was, and man, it
because of porn,
all coming together,
and because of how, like, the stages that you was exposed to these things. Got you.
So, man, I didn't realize this. So,
it's the long game,
man. My wife, oh my God. Sex ain't even something she got to have. You know what I mean? She'll get an urge from time to time, you know, see what she needed, whatever. But they ain't wired like us. You know what I'm saying? Right. Wind blow. Hey, we ready. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She ain't wired like that, but she knows that's something that I need. My love language is physical touch, my number one. Hers is words of affirmation. Quality time. Yep. She would love it if we would just get in the bed and I just hold her. You know, just embrace her, and she just goes to sleep on my chest. She would love that. But our problem is, you'll sleep with no clothes on.
Right.
You lay on my chest and you get the rubbing, and you know what I'm saying? That joke jump up. Hey, baby, I know you want me to hold you, but you just feel so good. You know what I'm saying? I just need to put the thing in there. And then put tip in. I mean, you know, stuff like that, you know. And because she loves me so much, even though, and I don't want to be that. I want to be able to just embrace and give her what she needs without me having to get what I want. Right. I don't need it. Right. I want it though, cause it's there, and she stood up. You need it, but not like that though. You know, so I can. Yeah. But if my perspective is right.
That's deep. I have what you said, Chancey. I had to jump in right there. Give her what she needs and not what we want. That's what God do for us all the time.
All the time.
All the time. I just want to say that. He give us what we need, even though we're not giving him what he wants us to give him. That's deep. I just want to throw that out. That's deep.
Man. And the other thing, man, that struck me was when you mentioned intimacy, and when you think about lust versus intimacy, totally different things that the enemy tries to make look similar. Totally different things that he tries to make look, you know, identical, and they're not, because intimacy, you know, of course, we all heard that into me see, And that's what's so powerful about it is you're actually into that person. Like it's not just physically, you are attentive to that person in that moment of physical intimacy, but the actual intimacy occurs throughout the day, all day long, you know, conversation and all that kind of stuff. But what the devil tries to do is try to paint a picture, you know, using lust and, you know, those things to make it look the same, you know, and so many people get those things mixed up so much so that they bring it into the bedroom. Man, I really think that this is a topic for another season or something that we could chop up and really get into that will bless a lot of people in their relationships.
That's true.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt.
All right, go back to the video.
If I give her what she needs, guess what her goal gonna be? Give me what I need.
That's right. That's right.
So when you have that balance, man, and so what you said, when the porn thing comes up, it's almost always when she's not there. She's not in the house. She's gone. And even when she come back home, I don't want to touch her because I don't want that to be attached to her in any way. Like what I said, something I struggle with privately. I don't even want her to even. I don't want to have sex with her when she come home after I did seeing that. I don't want to connect her to that because I realize the exchange. I don't want that to be in my head when I'm trying to make love to my wife and be with my wife. Right. So it's like okay, she gone, and I'll be trying to. I get what you're saying, Mark. You're trying to fight that thing, man, and it's on you to just go, you know, just or and the enemy's so slick. What you're looking at Facebook, you're looking at Instagram. Now they don't show nudity on Facebook and Instagram.
Just about.
Darn deal. But enough to get you engaged enough, aroused up enough to like going on this way. You know what I'm saying? Just take it to the next level, and before you know it. And here's where dopamine kicks in. Dopamine is like an addiction, like a drug addict. Right. It's something that has to be fed, just like that fire. If you stop putting logs on that fire, it's gonna go out. Right. So the way dopamine works in our bodies is okay. You that thought comes, open that site up, you see one, and in my heart, I'm like, man, shut it down, man. This ain't feeding you, man. This ain't what God wants you to do. Shut it down. But dopamine says, put one more log on. Yeah. And because dopamine is like a crack, heroin, I gotta get some more. I gotta get some more. You constantly want more. It's an appetite that cannot be quenched.
It's an appetite that can be quenched. Why?
Because it's not spiritual. Oh well. I'll say it. Not that it's not spiritual, but the tank has no bottom. Yeah. You can't fill that tank up. You cannot fill that dopamine tank up. It's gonna constantly want more. You can never get enough of that.
What's gonna constantly want more?
That desire, that urge.
Why is that desire and urge gonna constantly be there?
Well, we were created that way.
Right. So what I'm trying to get to is, it's not a bad thing, right? But it becomes addictive, and it becomes a drug because our body craves it. Our physical man craves it. It becomes attached to it. See what I'm saying? And that's how it becomes. That's how it becomes addictive. That's when we begin to. What's the word? When it talks about. Spirit and the flesh.
Oh yeah, the war. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Galatians. Yeah. So here's the thing, though. I'm not liking from my wife.
Yeah. Right.
There's no like there.
I got that.
Yeah. Normally when that happens, it's because you say, hey, never seen your man out horny or hungry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that ain't my life.
Right.
I get whenever I want it.
You wondering why you still.
That's my struggle. Is like, man, why can't I?
I'm gonna go back
leave
to
this
it
alone.
again.
Like, why I
go
keep
back.
being
What was the first thing we
a
just
thorn
said?
in my side?
Yeah. Why did we go back? What did we say in the beginning? When was you exposed to this?
Oh,
10
yeah.
years old.
Yeah.
So, which means your innocence was taken at 10 years old. Before your brain, before your body, before your spirit was even close to being fully developed.
I want to take it back.
So then you got exposed to it. And so remember how we talked about trauma. That's a form of trauma. And your body constantly and your mind constantly goes back to that thing.
Let's go there.
How do I take
You
it
see
back?
what I'm saying?
Let's go there. So, your brain isn't fully developed until you're about 30 years old.
True.
And that entire time, it's totally growing and coming together. So,
Yo, we gotta stop. We gotta stop.
Every sensory.
Yo, we gotta stop. Why are you laughing? Hey, yo.
We can't see your video. Is that on purpose, Monkey?
Huh?
We can't see your video.
Oh, you can't see me? No.
No, you got your video off.
No, it's not actually. My camera's actually on. Hold on 1 second. What about now?
No, it's that jitterbug. You can keep going.
I don't know what the problem
Yeah,
is.
just keep talking, man.
Just keep going.
Check this out now.
Uh-huh.
When we talked about the subconscious, we talked about the trauma aspect of it, and we talked about, I don't even know if I should be talking about this because I think we even went into it in the video when we were there about how certain things was imparted in us along our journey that causes us to be who we are, whether we want it to be or not, and how it impacts us, our decision makings and our cravings and the things that we're drawn to. But that was just very impactful to even just hear that again, and how Chancey, like it was like things really opened up for him at that time in reference to his struggle. All these years he was trying to figure out where it came from. And mind you, check this out now. Chancey is a person that counsels people all the time.
Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
But I did so they have this thing. The guy struggled with porn addiction too. And so I did this series through church called Conquer series, right? And helping men get delivered from porn. Sex addiction is the only addiction that you can like pray yourself out. It's not, like almost like when the disciples couldn't get that, the evil spirit, and Jesus said this come by fasting and praying. Sexual addiction is not something you can pray because it's tied to a root. It always goes to a root cause in your family life that has to be healed. It's almost like when God talk about the iniquities of our soul, right? It's easy to think about the sin that we know, lying, stealing, cheating. But the root cause of those sin, that's what most sexual addiction is tied to. So, for example, for me, my father left. And in my family, I had some family struggle. So, and at a young age, it's like, Chancey, I lost my virginity at 12, right? 12 years old. So at a young age, I've been exposed to sex and all those roots. But even as hard as I try, as hard as I pray, as hard, because I never went back to deal with the root cause. So, like an alcoholic can actually pray and God can deliver them on the spot, like boom. But something about sexual sin, and the Conquer series goes deep into it every week, but it's tied to that root cause. And until you go back and deal with the root cause, you will never be delivered from it. So, that's how guys can go 4 or 5 years. And I will close with this. This is so permanent, especially in this country. It's not just like, church people. I mean, most people in the church, it's not just men and women are suffering from sexual addiction, like masturbation and porn and all those kind of. So it's not just a men problem, and it's not just the outside world. It's happening a lot in the church. But yeah, you can't pray yourself out of that. But the Conquer series go deep into it. Like you have to deal with the root, and then I think Chiefs like talk about it. Like then you have to get the skill to deal with the lies the enemy will tell you, right? But then you have to build safeguards, right? So don't go to a strip club if you're addicted to porn, right? You know, stuff like that. But
Okay.
anyway,
All right, so it's a couple things. That I want to talk about. Number one is this, right? You know, y'all can't see my face. I'm the only one that can. But y'all know, you know what I'm saying. As far as this platform, I know what women doing. I know women got struggles just like we do. I don't want to talk about no women struggle. I want to talk about the fellas. And the other reason I say that is because 9 times out of 10, when you hear the word porn, even though women, it's a lot of things that women struggle with, but it's highlighted and we carry the freaking weight
that's
on
true.
quite a few things as if it don't exist for the other gender. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
So when we talk about porn, the majority of it, you know, falls upon like it's just something that we deal with. And just like we always do, we okay with carrying we okay with carrying that burden. You know what I'm saying? We okay with carrying, you know what I'm saying, the stigma that come behind it. You know what I mean? However, you know, the other thing that I wanted to address is also I'm not sure that I agree with sex being the only thing that can't be prayed away. I'm gonna tell you the reason why. I believe that sex, although I agree with you to an extent, but I also don't. And the reason why I don't is because a lot of people, all of us have vices. And although sex, we were created to desire sex and want sex, and a lot of us revert to that. Some men don't revert to it, and they revert to drugs and alcohol and other things to take the place of that, to where that's where they go to deal with their trauma opposed to sex. You see what I'm saying? So I could be an alcoholic, and although my body can be purged from it, from using alcohol, and like you saying, yeah, I could pray that off and be purged from it, but also because of the taste of me, my body receiving and getting accustomed and used to it, alcohol releases a certain thing within us too. And so people that become clean decide to go back to back to that vice, whether it's alcohol or drugs, because of the feeling of it, and because of where it takes them. You know what I'm saying? Opposed to like sex does for some of us. Does that make sense? So I can't necessarily say that sex is the only thing that can't be prayed away.
Yeah, because I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, you good.
Yeah, because regardless of the vice, the chemical of dopamine is the same and affects every person with a vice the same way. So it doesn't matter what the vice is, whether it's porn, whether it's alcohol, drugs. Those are the top ones. But there's many different vices. But the chemical of dopamine affects us all the same way in that. You get that desire, that urge for that thing feeds that dopamine, and it wants more and more and more of it, and you can't satisfy that urge, which is why you continue to go back to it. And even for those who have been quote unquote delivered, it still is a struggle. Because you've been delivered from something doesn't mean it just don't come up, don't affect you no more, because the devil doesn't sleep. He doesn't take breaks. He's gonna always present that thing to you to the day you leave here. How you respond to it, yeah, that changes, and that can be, dealt with, but it'll never stop. He'll never stop presenting that thing to you. For those who suffer with, womanizing or manizing, if you want to call it that. he'll always keep women in your face. You know what I'm saying? But how you now? I may not fall for it like I used to, but it's a constant because he knows that was my thing. You know what I mean? That's it for me. So yeah, I agree that you know, it can be many different vices and yeah, there's always gonna be they're gonna always be presented to us. It's how we respond to it. What changes.
In addition to that, what I wanted to say was, I mean, think about gambling. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
All those things
that's another
like
one.
that's another one too. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, and what came to my mind just a few minutes ago was if anything that you have to be delivered from, or anything that you've been delivered from, in order to be delivered from something, you had to be being introduced to it first. See what I'm saying? And the introduction of something brings forth an awakening within us, no matter what it is. And I can't necessarily say, because we use the word enemy a lot, I can't necessarily say that it's the enemy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Of course we're made of flesh. I can't necessarily say it's the enemy, because when Chancey just said like he'll bring women, women exist in our world, and that's part of our day-to-day life. You know what I mean? So
But well, going is like with sexual sin, one of the biggest key, like if I'm an alcoholic, it will be very difficult for me to hide it, right? So
wait,
sin,
why you say that? How you figure that? I know a lot of people that hide.
it's not as easy as like a sexual sin. It really not. I mean, if you're alcoholic, keep going, eventually it will be known. But someone that is sexually addicted or having those kind of sin is not exposed until they get in trouble. I mean, we see in our society all the time, permanent pastors and stuff struggling with sexual sin. It don't come to full circle until they really slip up and become a public thing. So
I'm not saying that you're wrong, but what about the high functioning? Because you got high functioning drug users, you
I
got
agree.
high functioning alcoholics. You see what I'm saying? And
I'm just saying those are harder to hide than a sexual sin. Like if I'm addicted to porn, if I don't tell no one until I get caught, like the guy on CNN doing a live thing, what the lawyer dude, Tobin, that got caught on live TV masturbating. No one saw him on TV. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah.
Man,
not to make light of it, but for real.
Hey, you talking about the one? You talking about the one at the job conference? That was, I mean,
Tubin, Google
it was
Tubin.
Zoom, right?
Yeah, he's no longer on CNN.
On.
he forgot the camera was off, and he was like going to town. And
Lord Jesus, boy. Ooh.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you, Markeith. I'm just saying, like sexual sin, until something like that happened, nobody would know. He couldn't wait, chap. He couldn't wait. or the guy, the Michigan State, or the Michigan State football coach, the brother that got fired, same thing, like it's prevalent. Like, he was masturbating to the girl on the. I'm just saying, I'm not disagreeing with you, Markeith. I'm just saying with sexual sin, it's a little easier for me to hide it for a longer time.
Right. I can see that.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah. Like, Mark Tubin. Brother, I hope you're delivering, man. We're not trying to call you.
Man, this man went and got the paper towels and the lotion and brought them to the Zoom call. Oh like, my God, bro!
I can't wait for this interview to finish.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
You stupid! You stupid, boy!
No, sir.
Hey, Chap, you got anything before we press play? hey, before we play again, hey, can you rewind that portion a little bit? Because we just ended up going live on Facebook. For some reason, it wasn't going. So now it's just coming up.
Okay, how far you want me to go back?
Just to where I'll say.
Okay.
A good 30 seconds.
All right.
Chap, you got anything before we play again? Hey, for those of you that just tuning in on Facebook, hey, we had top technical difficulties. We've been on what is it called, X and YouTube for the past 30 minutes because we're just not going live on Facebook because of technical difficulties. But welcome in, and we appreciate you guys joining in with us. Go ahead, bro.
All right.
Feel that dopamine tank up. It's gonna constantly want more. You can never get enough of that.
What's gonna constantly want more?
That desire, that urge.
Why is that desire and urge gonna constantly be there?
Well, we were created that way.
Right.
We
So what I'm trying to get to is, it's not a bad thing, right? But it becomes addictive, and it becomes a drug because our body craves it. Our physical man craves it. It becomes attached to it. See what I'm saying? And that's how it becomes. That's how it becomes addictive. That's when we begin to. What's the word? When it talks about spirit and the flesh.
Oh yeah, the war. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Galatians. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here's the thing, though. I'm not lacking from my wife.
Yeah.
Right.
There's no lack there.
I got that.
Yeah.
Normally when that happens, it's because you say, hey, never seen your man out horny or hungry.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But that ain't my life.
Right.
I get whenever I want it.
You wondering why you still.
That's my struggle. Is like, man, why can't I
I'm gonna go back
leave
to
this
it
alone?
again.
Like, why
Let's
I
go
keep
back.
being
What was the first thing we
a
just
thorn
said?
in my side?
Yeah.
Why did we go back? What did we say in the beginning? When was you exposed to this?
10 years old.
Yeah.
So, which means your innocence was taken at 10 years old, before your brain, before your body, before your spirit was even close to being fully developed.
I want to take it back.
So then you got exposed to it, and so remember how we talked about trauma. That's a form of trauma, and your body constantly and your mind constantly goes back to that thing.
Let's go there.
You see what I'm saying?
Let's go there. So, your brain isn't fully developed until you're about 30 years old.
True.
And that entire time, it's totally growing and coming together. So it's capturing every moment, every sensory, everything traumatic. That's why there are big things in our life that we remember. You know what I mean? Be it good or bad. Because we are at that stage, coming from 10 years old. Think about everything that your mind captured, your physical mind captured. Now I'm 20.
Oh my God.
Now I'm 25. Now I'm 30.
Wow.
Now I'm 31. Everything from that point to that point is in there. It's in there. And I revert to the things that are good. That's why people still addicted to drugs. Because what they tell you, I started at an early age.
Yeah.
Cigarettes, I started at an early age. You know, whatever that is, as I'm growing from a youth to an adult, my brain is capturing all of this. And by the time I get there, that's why you got people that know how to go to work. And that's why you got people that are still on the couch as men. Right?
Yeah.
Because as I got older, I was developed and shaped into this. When I get here, I'm still down there. Right? So there are places in our life. I can still remember the things that hurt me the most as a child. I captured all of those things. Right? Now, the good things, I don't remember as much.
Oh my God.
You hear what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
I don't remember the good things as much.
Yeah.
But the things that did the most damage, I call them up right now. Because as I was growing, I was progressing in my physical being, I captured all those things in this brain right here.
So you're emotional.
So when we get triggered, when we trigger, we don't respond in our mature man. Right. We respond at the age of what we
go right back to
we go
right back to what hurt us.
Right.
The root of it is right back to this influence right here. Go right back to. I remember my sister was my everything. My older sister.
The one I met?
No, you met Evelyn. Barbara. my oldest, everything. Like, always wanted to be around her, blah, blah, blah. She said something to me one day when I was a kid. Broke my heart. Never forgot that moment. Ever. And I have a whole lot of moments like that. I remember learning to drive at 10 years old. It was me and my dad in the car. My dad was drunk as Cooter Brown. But I had to get us home. Right? Almost wrecked the car. Never forget
How?
that.
You say 11?
10 years old.
10?
Yeah.
You had to drive?
Yeah. In the dark. One of them had to do it. He couldn't do it. Right? I remember being spit on as a young black child. I remember holes in the bottom of my shoes and walking on the bus, smelling like fireplace smoke and hearing everybody talk about me. I was an honor roll student though. I never mentioned that today. Right? You know, I did very well, you know, on my ASVAB. Didn't mention that today. Right? I was a good kid at home. Wasn't disobedient. I never mentioned that today. It's easier to connect with what hurt us first. You know what I mean? And anytime something like that reminds me of that, I go right back there. No matter. And the roots grow in these places. But I want to let you know that it's okay. It's okay. And I'm not making excuses for bad behavior. That's not what we're doing here. But there are instances that happen in our life that we could not control. You couldn't control that. You were doing what was demonstrated. Some way that got showed to you. And because you were a man child, it was an influence, upon influence, because I know that because of who I am, I should be responding to this. I should be curious, right? Nobody told me that at 10 years old that, you know, my time is going to come for this to happen. It was open for me to do, right? At 10 years old, you're going to do what 10 years old do. My son right now, if you leave him alone, he's going to touch the cord or he's going to touch the stove. He's going to touch, even though we know that's not the right thing to do. We know it's too hot, even if I tell him not to touch it. Yesterday, I was in the tavern. They were like, don't touch anything. I wanted to touch it, right? You know what I mean? Just by instinct alone, we are driven to do things that way. Sex is one of those things. You're driven. We were driven by that. As you got older, those things stayed captured and they developed, became more sophisticated. As that moment was. That same moment, put it in today's context. You hear what I'm saying? Right? So while I can't get
Hey,
it
hold
back,
on. It's a lot of meat, but we gotta let it breathe.
and our minds are in that space.
Well, it's a lot of meat on that bone, boy.
We gotta let it breathe, bro. We gotta let it
Yes,
breathe.
sir.
That was a lot.
My God.
Hey, what's the thoughts, man? Hey, we gotta let that one breathe, bro. God.
Yeah, that was heavy. We gotta let Chiefs dig on that one first. Chiefs, unmute yourself, man, and give us some of that meat, man, off that bone right there. We still can't hear you, bro.
Hey, somebody else give me some. Hey, Chiefs, go out and come back in, man.
Yeah, try that, Chiefs.
Yeah, what y'all got? What you thinking, Gabe?
Whew.
Yeah, when Chap was talking to Chancey, it's almost like the Holy Spirit was using what you were saying to help me shed light on my own struggles, right? Because I do that often. You go back to, I mean, God been good to me, but I'll always go back to the hurt, to the pain. And it affects my marriage even to this day, you know, like when she does, I just go back to it. Chap is back.
What you got, Chap?
Hey, can y'all hear me now?
There you go.
Okay, yeah, man. What I was saying was that that thing still brings it gives me chills, man. Bring tears to my eyes. You just think about how crafty the enemy tries to be, but grace, man, His grace is so sufficient. And you think about how the innocence and how innocent we are, and how we're trying to juggle with our instinct and our innocence, and all those things are happening at the same time when we're so young. And what happens in those scenarios, man, that we all remember the worst things is it's not because we we were drawn to those things. Those things happen to us, right? And when you talk about how, like, what happened to Chiefs or what happened to me or whatever happened to us in our youth, they help shape our lives, you know. And I respond to this more than I respond to that. Doesn't make it right. It's just what happened to me instinctively. So I'm drawn or driven this way, and I'm built that way. And a lot of times we think that I should be living and I shouldn't be having this problem. And the problem doesn't have you, and that's the blessing in it all. You know, it's because the problem doesn't have me that I can still be who I am, regardless of, it doesn't have me anymore. And what happened to me then, even though I can go back to it, man, I tell you, it's just something that shaped my life, but it's not my life. When you think about it, problems are only 10%. 90% is good. 90% is good, man. And in that moment we were speaking about, fellas, that was truly the Spirit of God. And man, I'm just grateful for it, because I'm listening. I'm like, who is that? And I know it's funny, but I'm so serious right now. And I think if more men had that understanding, put it like this, men that are actually trying to be good, if we can release and liberate ourselves a lot faster and go a lot further, once we realize that His grace is sufficient. Yeah, I did this, but God's grace is so sufficient. This happened to me, but it also happened for me. He doesn't leave anything on the table. What's bitter and sweet, God takes it all, and He builds our life according to it. And He shows us, no matter what your struggle is, I still got you. You're still blessed. You're still thriving. The overarching theme of it, man, is His grace is so sufficient. I think we're going to go into that part of this, but the grace of God is so sufficient that these things become, minute, and the enemy tries to take what's so small and try to make it seem so heavy. But man, keep going, keep striving, because God is showing you, I'm not going to stop just because you struggle. I'm still going to be God. I'm still going to be who I'm supposed to be in your life. I'm still going to be that unconditional God that you come to know and love. I'll stop right there, man. That was just a real huge moment.
Yeah, we ain't gonna go no further than that. Hey, we need to go back. We need to go back and listen to this one more time. Go back a whole 60 seconds.
Hey, before we do, bro, I see God working on Gabe, man. And I just want to say that's one of the reasons why, bro, I'm so transparent, man, with my struggles in my life, because I realize that when I am, it takes the enemy power away. And it goes back to what you said, Marquis. This not that some of this stuff that the enemy didn't do, but he'll still try to use it, against us with where we are now. And that's why I'm so transparent, man, because I realize being transparent, it takes away his advantage. Like, okay, what you gonna do? I'm telling my own story. I'm telling my own truth. So you ain't got nothing on me, homeboy, and I'm telling on myself. So I bump you. So I really get that grace, Chiefs. I really understand that now. I'm beginning to understand even more now, man, as I get older. But it's so sufficient, Gabe, man. Anytime he tries to come at you with that, man, like, you free, brother. With the Spirit of the Lord, you are free, brother.
Yeah.
Like, what you did and what happened to you, man, that ain't catch God by surprise.
Yeah.
None of this did. You know what I'm saying? But how do we use that now to our advantage to be the men He called us to be? Because I can't help what happened to me as a kid. I can't change that, but I can use those testimonies to my benefit now, and use God's grace to keep pushing me forward, man. So be encouraged, brother. Be encouraged.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's why I was alluding to earlier about like sexual sin, because what we keep hidden, that's what we'll continue to struggle the most. The more we become transparent. Like the other day I was thinking back, like just 6 months when all that stuff went down Ditra, to the person I am today, just in 6 months, chap, like what God has done. I mean, but His grace, because the more we understand God's grace, I did a devotion, I talk about that. The more we understand God's grace, the things that we used to be held in bondage to loses its power. It's the opposite. Now I'm not striving. I'm just resting in Him. And now, like Chancey said, the more I tell my story, the stronger you become. Like, okay, this happened, but I'm free. I'm free of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. I mean, when I came back from Afghanistan, PTSD broken. It's the grace of God. I didn't get a DUI or go to prison.
Yeah.
I mean, I was driving from DC drunk like almost every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and
Yeah.
Sunday. And
Yeah.
I thought about it today. I'm like, God, you so good.
Yeah.
You so good.
Yeah.
Because that was my coping. That
Yeah.
alcohol was my coping
Yeah.
of all that trauma.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, grace is so powerful, man.
Yeah.
It changes you.
Yeah. Before we move, man, I think that's one of the greatest revelations of life is, I know for me, when I stopped living for him and started living because of him, that's where I found grace. When I realized I couldn't do it. And I was trying so hard to live for him. And all he wanted, just live because of me. Live because I am. You know, because you can never live up to who I am, but you can live because I am. So, life changing.
That's good.
So
That's
so
good.
the only one thing that keeps standing out in my mind when we say we can't control what happens to us, right? We can't control what happens to us, and a lot of time we ask why, but it ain't necessarily about controlling it and answering why, but seeking, you know what I'm saying, why it happened. Because even then, even when we move forward, we probably ain't gonna finish it tonight. But even when we move forward, we talked about how all those things that took place, how they were the driving force to get us to who we are, where we are now.
No doubt.
Those are the things that created that thorn.
Yeah.
To make us uncomfortable, to
Yeah.
keep us, to keep pushing and moving.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of His grace.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go back 60 seconds, man.
Yeah, I went back. Yeah, those thorns keep us near the cross, man. Always
Yeah.
remember that.
Mm. This is good, boy.
You cannot control. You couldn't control that. You were doing what was demonstrated. Some way that got showed to you. And because you were a man child, it was an influence, upon influence, because I know that because of who I am, I should be responding to it. I should be curious, right? Nobody told me that at 10 years old that, you know, my time is going to come for this to happen. It was open for me to do, right? At 10 years old, you're going to do what 10 years old do. My son right now, if you leave him alone, he's going to touch the cord, or he's going to touch the stove, he's going to touch, even though we know that's not the right thing to do. We know it's too hot, even if I tell him not to touch it. Yesterday, I was in the tavern, they were like, don't touch anything. I wanted to touch it, right? You know what I mean? Just by instinct alone, we are driven to do things that way. Sex is one of those things. You're driven. We were driven by that. As you got older, those things stayed captured and they developed, became more sophisticated. As that moment was. That same moment, put it in today's context. You hear what I'm saying? Right? So while I can't get it back, I can still go back. And our minds are in that space. That's why I'm conveying, man, that grace is so amazing. It's so amazing. Because there are things that we can't control that happen to us. And His grace is so sufficient. Like, we don't have to worry about the why. We don't. You don't have to worry about the why, man. Don't be in no turmoil about this, brother. Because the why was beyond you before this happened. But God still did it. Jesus still did it. When you were talking, all I could think about was the evolution of your marriage. Because I seen it. I seen when you couldn't get it. And now it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I want it. I want what you have. Now, had He shown you what it would take to get there, you wouldn't have made it, brother. But you made it with that struggle. Y'all made it with that struggle. And I know that we fight to get better. But man, don't spend all your days fighting. Spend your days loving and living and learning. Right? There are things that happened to my sisters that, boy, I had to go see some people about. Right? Because they had no responsibility in those things. They could not control the situation, but it made them promiscuous. You hear what I'm saying? It turned them that way. As women, they cried. Why? Had no understanding. I met women that I dated great women, great hearts, brains. I'm talking about lawyers, detectives, doctors. Still had it, very promiscuous. Peel the egg back, peel the onion back. This happened to me when I was this old.
And they still trying to figure out why am I like this?
Trauma. It's trauma, man. And it's nothing that you can, having gone to the throne, it's nothing that you can bear and allow to be so heavy. Because even though it happened to you, Chiefs, I want to say it happened for you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And again, I'm not here to make excuses, man, but I am here, brother. I am a demonstration of his grace. You know my life. Man, I don't know if y'all know, but boy.
Yeah.
So you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is no small thing, but it's small enough that it doesn't get God's attention the way you think it does.
Pause.
Don't condemn yourself, man. Live in the freedom that you've been, man.
It doesn't get God attention like you think it does.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Man, sometimes I think that, we're going through these things that God, and this is just me, but I think that God just pulls all the disciples in and he goes, hey, look at him. He doesn't think he's strong enough, but he got it. All right, on to the next slide. But they don't spend all day in a conference room worrying how Gabe is going to move next because his victory already won. They don't spend all day, God didn't spend all day contemplating, how am I going to do this for Chiefs? I figured it out before he got here. Like it's unconditional. And it's so powerful and profound, man. When you move in that thing, there are things that we deal with that we think has God attention, and they really don't have his attention that way because he knows us better than we know ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still God.
I think it goes back to something you said in that thing, and there aren't any questions in the chat, Marquise. It's just comments that I'm putting in and little nuggets that I'm putting in as I'm listening to this all over again, man. For those who may go back and watch it at a later time.
Okay.
But one of the things I just put in their chat, man, is that to change our perspective on our life, it may have happened to you, but shift your thoughts on it and realize that it may have happened for you. And man, that is so that is just mind-blowing, man, at how changing your perspective on the things that have happened in our lives,
Yeah.
how it can change the literal direction of your life when you realize that this thing may have just happened for me. Because had that thing not happened, you may still be an alcoholic. You may still be caught up in pornography or caught up in womanizing or caught up in whatever the things you were caught up in. Had that thing not happened to you, you may not be the man that you are today because of that thing, So I think for a lot of us, man, it's all about perspective and one accepting that grace, of God, but not looking at those things as a negative, but looking at it as how it shifted the path and the direction of my life in the direction that it's going right now because of that thing.
Yeah. I like the way how I love people.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of everything God made me understand what real love is. So I love people like he loves people. Because I endured so much pain with not getting love from people I should have gotten love from.
Mm-hmm.
So when you guys talk about it happened for me, or it happened for us, I can see that. Because sometimes when you go through those things, fellas, the enemy will say, why you keep putting yourself out there? But that's where he wants me to be, his hands and feet, man. Because I do that to him all the time. We all do that. No matter what we do, his love never changes. And so my prayer is to to love my wife like that, no matter what. No matter what, just embrace her like God taught Chancey, like he loves the church.
Yeah.
Because Chap said it right. We always revert back to the hurt, not the good things. When something happened, bring out that, but it's there. But we can flip it, right? Instead of reverting back to the hurt to hurt of people, we can use God's grace to say, because I hurt, I can't hurt people like that. I remember, use that grace, how he saved me in spite of that hurt.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
listen. It's gonna be that sacrifice thing. That's a topic that we're gonna also cover.
Yeah, we got to dig into
That's
that.
that's gonna go real deep, man.
Yeah.
Also, like real quick, I see we got a couple views. Do you guys have any questions before we get ready? Cause we got like a minute and some change. But we want to give y'all, if you guys have anything that you want to say or any questions, before we get ready to end this, please, let us know. We waiting to hear from you. That's big, Gabe. That's big.
Yeah.
That's big.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened for me, Gabe. During that time for my wife and I, one of the things he allowed me to see was you can't love her because of her. You got to love her because of me. And once, like I said, once you're able to shift her perspective on things, man, it opens up a whole new world of doors for you, man. So now I can love this woman, man, beyond her, because I know that he loves me beyond me. So it makes it easier for me to love her because I don't love her because of her. So my loving based on what she does or doesn't do or doesn't matter, because I love her because of him. So man, brother, I'm excited for you, man.
Amen.
Hey, who gonna get ready to close this out? We got any? You see any questions? I don't see anything.
Nah, bro, nothing.
Okay. Hey, thank you, guys. Can y'all see me now? No.
Nope.
Hey, go ahead and get ready to close this out. Chancey,
All right.
Thank y'all
Man.
for tuning in with us.
Yeah. So family, we're concluding our cabin series. We're concluding this episode, I'll say, because we got more to share. And as you can see, guys, this thing just it got better and better, and some say in the country gooder and gooder.
Yeah.
And it continues to go in that direction. So we encourage you to tune in next week. Are we gonna do next week? We got the next Marquis.
Hey, what y'all want to do? That's up to y'all.
I said let's do next week.
Yeah,
All
me
right.
too. Yeah, let's keep this thing going. So we'll tune in next week again, guys. Next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard. Join us here once again as we conclude the series. This next broadcast that we're on from the cabin series. But we thank everybody who viewed and tuned in. Those who are gonna watch it after the fact, dig into the comments and look at the comments. And I put some of the nuggets in there that you guys that were shared over the course of the video. But we really would like to hear you guys' feedback on what you think and how you feel about the things that we talk about and how it changed your life. And even if you use some of these nuggets to in your own lives and kind of what you've been through as it relates to the topic that we're talking about in the series. But I'm going to close this out. Father, we thank you for yet another opportunity to share with all of those who are gonna view this episode. God, we thank you for the transparency. We thank you for the raw and honest and just transparent conversation. God, we thank you for having men in our lives that we can actually have this type of dialogue with, because I realize that this is not the norm for most men. And I pray that even in viewing this, oh God, that other men would engage and open doors of opportunity for other men across the country, wherever they may be, to have a dialogue like this, so we can truly, be men who sharpen one another, just as your word tells us to do. God, we just thank you for this time of refreshing and time of sharing and time of breakthrough. Thank you for all the nuggets that were shared on tonight. And we just give you the praise for all that you're doing, all that you're exposing, all that you're enlightening us to. And we just give you all the praise, honor, and glory in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.